Sam. Super, super excited to have this conversation, and we're going to dive right into it. So I know we talked a ton about you setting a ton of records throughout your career, and now you've even started your own business called Sam Sales. Rather fitting title, by the way. All right, so show me you know me. Talk to me a little bit more about what that is, what that framework is, and how did it come about? How did you develop it?
So this is something I've been talking about for, I don't know, a decade plus at this point. And show me you know me is really the idea of showing the people around us that we understand them. That can be our leaders, that can be the people that report to us, it can be our clients. It's applicable to basically every stage of either leadership, sales, basically anything that you're doing. And it's also a great bonus to your personal life. So what does it mean? It means, especially for our clients, when we think about that, it's that we understand who they are. We understand what's going on with their vertical. We understand what's going on with their accounts. And we also understand the challenges that they're having. How many times have we gotten on calls and somebody says, tell me about what you do there. Tell me how long you've been there. How did you get promoted? We don't know enough about our clients, even at the basic level. So then let's think about this from a leadership perspective. How do we use this to attract talent, to retain talent? It's just a matter of showing our people who report to us, who give us all of their time, that we care about them. As a leader, we've been trusted with the most important thing, and that's people reporting to us and for us to be able to develop them and to see them succeed. So how do we do that? We have to understand who they are. We have to understand their foundations. We have to understand what makes them tick. We have to understand what motivates them, right? And also taking the time to understand what happens not only in their 9 to 5, but what happens in their 5 to 9. Do they have kiddos? Are they passionate about things? Get to know your people. Show them you know them.
I love it. And especially because not everybody is purely motivated or driven by financial incentives. Yes, we're in sales, and obviously there are financial incentives involved with that. But people have families, they have other aspirations and dreams and ambitions. And the deeper you can understand those, the better and more motivating of a leader you can be, and you can tie into those. So I love that concept.
And it seems so obvious, right? Like, of course, I'm going to find out about my people. Of course, I'm going to understand what motivates them. But I'll never forget having worked for a manager for about 18 months, and we closed one of the biggest deals our company has ever closed in a very, very tough vertical. I got a wonderful bottle of champagne. It was so nice, sent to my house. And it said, something for you to drink with you and your significant other. And I'm like, he has a name. And it's that kind of stuff, just simple things. And even the things that we might not know or we can't remember, perhaps because it's been some time since it's been shared with us, ask around. Take the time to do your research. My peers probably know. Their peers probably know. Make sure you show up prepared, even if you're missing some critical facts that you should already know.
Yeah, and I love that approach. And I'll take it a step further too. There's this concept that I know you're very passionate about, which is radical candor. Bringing that to every single conversation that you have and tearing back that layer of the corporate veneer and actually being real with each other is so, so impactful and valuable. You're talking about soft skills, and soft skills seem to be at the heart of this framework of show me you know me. So one example of that is I know that leaders who actually have a sense of humor and are willing to break character are actually 27% more likely to retain their top talent. So talk to me a little bit more about the soft skills and why those are so important.
So one of the things is we don't spend enough time really getting to know the people that are reporting directly to us. And so let me give you an example. One thing that we might do is to say, hey, how was your weekend? And the people on our team say like, oh, it was really great. It was really busy. We took our kids to the park, etc. Okay, well, tell me more about that. So one amazing thing that we can do is be great active listeners, especially if we are in sales. One of the things that we should be doing as leaders is teaching our reps how to be active listeners with our clients. So how can we demonstrate that and teach them how to do it? By doing it ourselves about their personal lives. Now, not everybody wants to have the small talk and wants to go into that, but just think about one small thing where you can say, tell me about the park. Is this where you normally go? Is this a tradition? You're getting to know them better. And they're either going to open up or they're going to say, yeah, it's a tradition. And then you're going to be like, okay, got it. You don't want to talk about this. But it's a great opportunity. Again, dig in. So one very, very easy soft skill you can do. The humor thing, I think, is a little tougher to teach. You're either funny or you're not. And I think I'm personally hilarious, but I think it's so important to have that levity with your team, right? They need to understand that you're funny. They also need to know that you're vulnerable, that you share your failings, right? That you have fun with it. I say on my LinkedIn profile that I'm an expert in self-deprecating humor because I will always make fun of myself to get a laugh. So think about if you can incorporate some things there. I'll give you a great example. Somebody on our team, Paige, who is our head of marketing, has a great sense of humor herself. She's very light. She does not take herself seriously, falls on her sword all the time. And one of the things that we did is is when she sent out a webinar invite, she accidentally sent out a URL for everybody to access that was cookied with her information. So what that means is that when everybody joined, they joined as her, except that the link that she sent out was with her dog's name. So all of a sudden we had 400 Dakota Tills coming in. So I had a graphic artist put her dog on all the Zoom windows. I framed it, printed it out, and mailed it to her so she would never forget that it happened. But it's just using humor, especially when you have the right personality, can go such a long way, because a lot of leaders don't do that and they don't know how to employ it.
What I hear a ton, and what you actually had mentioned on LinkedIn, was every manager wants their reps to do better, to perform better, but then they're actually not telling them how to get better, actually guiding them through the tactics. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I think we're at an inflection point in sales right now where a lot of people are struggling to figure out exactly how to succeed in this market. So when we have our leaders that are going and saying, go do this, right? Ask active listening questions, go prospect, dig into buyer pain. And our reps say, got it. How? And then our leaders say, I don't know either, but go figure it out. We're in trouble. So I think one of the things that we have to do is we have to get really tactical. We can't expect them to learn a 78-step process that's going to take 19 weeks to execute. We have to start to think about, what does that rep do really well, capitalize on that, but then what are some of the things that they don't do well that we can improve? For instance, the very first question that they ask on a discovery call, can we change that script to get to buyer pain? Just change this one thing, right? Give them that tactical advice. If our emails are really struggling, if we can't get good open rates, right? Or maybe we can, but our reply rates are bad. Why? What's the meat in the email? Is it spaced out correctly? Is it too long? We have to get tactical. And I'll tell you that this is what our reps are dying to have. They want to know that tactical advice. They want to know exactly what it is that they should be doing. And they want to try one or two things, see that it works, and then say, it worked, and then be able to go from there. I think the other thing that's really necessary is a little bit of bravery from our leaders, right? Leaders, frontline leaders, second line leaders, third line leaders, one of the challenges that they have is they may not know how to succeed in today's market. And they might also not be in a culture that supports them saying, I don't know. So I think a little bravery, a little banding together to say, hey, things have changed. Technologies are different. There's so much out there that we can use. We don't know how to use this successfully. We're not experts. We need to figure out how to do that. We need to bring outside experts in to teach us. And then we can get on the same page. But if we keep doing what we did 3 years ago, we're going to be in trouble.
Yes, I love that. The level of vulnerability required in order for you to say, hey, I actually don't know. What you realize is that actually builds the foundation of trust, which is the foundational element of the pyramid that builds a high performing team. So I love that you made that point about, hey, we don't know everything.
I will also say, I think we have a responsibility to make these great, impactful experiences for our reps. So think about when they win something big, when they lose something big, think about when they get promoted, and just think about that. You then become a talent magnet, right? People want to follow you. They don't want to leave. They want to continue to work for you. Again, show them you know them. Take that time to invest in them. And that trust will also allow you to have really hard conversations, to give them radical candor, to give them tough feedback, because you've put the time in to show them you care about who they are and how they succeed.
We do know that, especially in sales, there are time constrained and time bound requirements for success. I have to hit my number in the quarter, month, year. With that being said, a lot of what is focused on right now is I got to hit that metric. I got to hit a high performance level. How are we driving a high performance culture while also saying, hey, I care about you and I'm extending empathy and care about you as an individual?
I think we have to change the metrics that we're measuring. So I think one key here is that we continue to do volume because it has such a low conversion, when instead, if we really focused on quality, we would notice that it would have a higher conversion and we would see more success from that. So there tends to be a lot of fear, right? When we talk about show me, you know me to leaders, and they say, well, how many emails should we send out a week? And we say 50. And they said, what? If we only send 50 emails and we get a 6% open rate and a 1% response rate, what's that going to do? And I will always say, you're not going to get those metrics. You're investing in the quality of the emails that you're sending. But on top of that, you need to stop thinking about always reaching out to your exact buyer persona and start to think about their boss or even a skip level. So the higher you go in an organization when you reach out, the worse that person's inbox looks. So if we, instead of reaching out to the director, reached out to the EVP or the SVP or the CRO or whatever that might be, we're going to stand out with the effort that we've made. We'll probably get kicked down to the person below them. And what's going to happen with that is that not only may we get the meeting, but we've immediately multi-threaded. What an incredible win just by doing that. The other thing, I think we have to modernize our approach. So organizations that might still only make cold calls and really rely on that, 11 touches to get somebody to pick up the phone and an average show rate of 37% for people who show up to those cold call booked meetings. Not a lot of juice for the squeeze. But I think the key there, right, is that how do we begin to build in a multi-channel approach? How do we use triggers and everything that we've got available to us in Salesloft's revenue orchestration platform? But then how do we also think about social media? How do we think about LinkedIn? How do we think about using DMs? How do we think about reaching out at a very specific time? Maybe it's early morning, maybe it's late night, maybe it's a weekend. I think when we really think about working smart instead of just working hard like we always have, and we mix in some of the new methodologies, technologies, and the focus on quality, you're going to see a better payoff in the end.